The good Moors was the chiefs who had to have a battle of wits with the Fezzes in order to secure the position of rank on the land.
Mm.
The good Moors, well, they don't necessarily know the difference, but when we see them, we know the chiefs on the land. So when I tell you to listen to a Moor, I'm gonna tell you the same three people: Hakeem Bey, C. Freeman Hill, and Taj. The other motherfuckers, I don't know nothing about them.
Okay.
But their information is how you know what they trying to get you to do, right? Taj,
They say, can you speak up a little? You sound a little low.
who me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah. So what Taj
Dang.
has been telling people for 50 years is there's a rogue element acting under the color of law, masquerading as our government, but all the time it's an occupying force.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a contract on our land that they made with the blood of Christmas Atticus, and you know it as a secondary constitution. And that's why we couldn't get out of this shit sooner, because the blood of the righteous can't be spilled in vain, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now we have to go up against them in learning, and they block us out of all of the institutions of learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So we had to figure out how to educate each other, each one teach one. We all gonna reach some,
Yeah.
right? So then you have guys like Prince Hall on the Blue Lodge who put everything in the public domain. That wasn't the problem. But when Noble Drew Ali put that Red Lodge out there, scorched earth scenario. He told us all these motherfuckers. He told them, I can count the amount of Moors that's gonna make it on one hand and still have fingers left. So we know then that the most it could be, is four Moors gonna make it, right? The most. Because if it's on one hand, he only got five fingers, right? And then he gonna have fingers left over. The most fingers you can count to have, or the least amount of fingers you can count on one hand, is one and still have them left over. He also said, if you not careful, listen to oral statements and prophecies while they be talking about I don't know what I'm talking about. He said, if you're not careful, your own brother gonna sell you into slavery. Why would he tell us that? They look like us, but they ain't us.
That's right. Yep.
That's why we couldn't figure out what the problem was, because they used something called blood shields to conceal who they were while they operate behind the scenes with anonymity. As long as they are known, we don't know who they is. We can't do nothing about it.
It's a noise coming from the chief son now. I'm gonna put you on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now we want to know who the guilty parties was that murdered Crispus Atticus and wrote the Constitution in his blood. That's easy.
Mm.
Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma, right? First, you got to look at the Constitution in order to know that it's written in blood. If you don't never look at it and you just go by copies of the Constitution, you will never know that it was written in blood.
Wow.
And there was a 200-year shelf life on that contract. The first contract they brought was called a biblical contract. It was a challenge to the people on the land, the Edomites, the ruddy red people, to put their birthright up to the Jacobins or Jacobins, the black Jews. Now they had behind the symbols, right? Remember what Trump said, they symbols gonna be their undoing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they got the black fist, but they ain't us.
Mm.
If you pull up Jewish Defense League, JDL, and the Anti-Defamation League, you see our symbols, but them people look pale. But they not the ones behind the scenes.
Right.
The ones behind the scenes look like us, and they use pale faces to keep us out of the institutions of learning.
Mm-hmm.
Them the dirty Moors.
Mm.
They call themselves Moorish Zionist Jews. Farrakhan called them satanic Jews. Why do he call them that? Right? Because when you're talking about something that's satanic, it's a unconquerable evil unless you can overcome that evil with righteousness. Right? So we call him the devil or Yakub's grafted devil because devil mean enemy. So if the devil mean enemy, get that spookism out your head. That's all it means, adversary or enemy. So they told us that we was the Edomite Indians, the ruddy red people, the original copper color race of the Americas when they brought their Bible over here. Right? As a contract. If you don't unravel the mystery of the Bible and decode Genesis to Revelations, you will never know what you're dealing with because it's designed to be confusing and very few people can put the pieces to the puzzle back together because it's like a scrambled egg, as the minister told me. I said it's like a scrambled egg, but it's not. That means I can fix it. If it's like a scrambled egg, but it ain't a scrambled egg, I can fix it. All I got to do is go back to the plane of force where the egg was created, and then I can see what his infinite potential was, and then I can reach that potential. Fuck your egg. Kick Humpty Dumpty ass off the wall. The egg is the symbol of the food, which is infinite potential. But if the egg ain't fertilized and it fall off the wall, what is it? Wasted potential. And that's why the king's horses and the king's men couldn't put it back together again because they didn't know how to salvage wasted potential. Well, I'm 100% wasted potential because wasn't nobody using it. I went to everybody. I went to the Moors. I went to Brother Our Loveville Temple in Detroit. They closed the door in my face. Fuqua Bay is the GS down there, right? I reached out to him. He acted like I was crazy, right? I went to the Nation of Islam. I went to the New Panther Vanguard. I went to everybody. So I was like, fuck them. They don't want my help. I won't help them. And then one day, Khalid Muhammad decided to take the Nation of Islam to war with the government, and Farrakhan had to kick him out, and he didn't want to kick him out, so he asked for some help. Well, y'all done closed the door in my face enough times. If y'all don't accept it this time, I'm not coming back no more. Right? So then I come back to tell them who it was. Who on the land that don't belong here? 32 degrees, Scottish Rite, dirty Moors, operating through the Skull and Bones Society under the direction of George Herbert Walker Bush, and he declared himself King George I of the United States in 1989. So now we know who behind it, right? They gave us 3 knocks. They was finna take over the world. We forgot about the 91 World Trade Center bombing, and we forgot about the federal building in Oklahoma City before we had a 9/11. That's 3 knocks all day long. So tell me why Tower 7 fell when no plane didn't hit it. Right? Because that's a direct knock to me. Motherfucker, we got you in the crosshairs. You ain't going to get on the throne. You not going to do nothing to help these people get their shit back. I said, well, 7-Eleven, well, shit, I don't care. If they want it back, I'll get it. And you can't do nothing about it because I got the blood and the right. But if they don't want it back, don't mix me in this shit because I can live under any system on earth.
It's funny you should say that because I'm from New Orleans. In 2005, they blew up the levees so Katrina could flood New Orleans because their treaties was up.
They didn't want us to know that. So that the New Orleans levee break, they did it before. In the ocean right there in St. Bernard's Parish, half of the city is under the water.
That's right.
But they don't want you to know that. Because they blew the levees before, because we had levees thousands of years for them motherfuckers knew we existed. We got pyramids so old they make the motherfuckers in Egypt look like they just got built yesterday.
True. That right there. True.
We've been building mounds so long, we might as well go over there and build some in Africa. We ain't got nothing else to do. We got all that. We got all this free energy we using them to generate. Right. That's the 3-6 scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when we tap into this energy, we can give it to everybody on Earth that want it.
Yes.
So that's the difference between the good Moors and the dirty Moors. The good Moors is the soldiers who don't know that they fighting in a war against the dirty Moors.
Mm.
But the dirty Moors, 9 out of 10, know what the fuck they doing. And all they trying to do is hustle you in the meantime and lead you astray so you never see the trap.
That part.
Well, since I met Empress and Clan Mother, and I heard what you said about the significance of the matriarch, could you go into detail and explain that?
So when you see Noble Ali talk about uplifting fallen humanity, he's holding a woman in his arms and he's stepping out of the ocean on the dry land. Right? And on her garment is written fallen humanity. He's talking about the matriarchs.
Yes.
Somebody must have undermined the system to take the matriarchs out of power when they wasn't supposed to do it, or else we wouldn't have needed Noble Drew Ali to come and uplift fallen humanity because it wouldn't have never failed. Now, for the dirty Moors who be saying I don't know what I'm talking about, ask them what the Eiffel Tower is. They don't know. They just think it's a whole bunch of wrought iron metal welded together to look like a monument. Listen to the name. It's a homonym. Where is it located? Par Isis. That's the Parthenon of Isis or the grand city of Isis.
Okay, so now you got this dude started off that he was asleep in the mountain. Some lady come along, hew him out the mountain. He fall down out the mountain, and he started to defend the heavens and the earth. As he started to defend the heavens and the earth, they find out that he is unruly, untamable, and he a bad motherfucker. So, excuse the language. So they sent him to go get wisdom because you cannot be a just ruler because wisdom precedes justice. And they know that this is the only one they feared. As it says that Sun Wukong is the only undefeated. And they had to use all these trickeries and deceptions in order to deceive Sun Wukong. It's the same story as Hanuman. Okay, now watch what happened. They gave us the story of the Planet of the Apes, which I addressed several times already. The Planet of the Apes is written in France. France is where the fall took place. The Planet of the Apes said that the apes rise in North America. It's right there. If you go to the original movie, The Planet of the Apes, you actually see a destroyed Statue of Liberty laying right there on the beach. It's telling you. It's telling you the story. So now, Hanuman had a different name in the Middle East because they referred to him as a great and mighty hunter. Well, what the hell? Who the hell is this great and mighty hunter? Well, they said he was so wicked that they didn't write his history. Yeah, I bet they didn't. They couldn't deceive anybody about his history because he had to be a badass in order to erase his history. Because they're notorious for the smear campaign. They're notorious for the smear campaign. So who is the most smeared and feared in the Middle East? You got to tie them all together or else they don't match. If they don't match, if he can't walk you all the way to North America with it, then he don't know what he's talking about. In the Middle East, there was somebody that all of the so-called gods feared. He was a regular dude, a man. His name was Nimrod. Nimrod, they gave him all of these false titles. Now, they said that he married his mother, whose name was Semiramis. Now, it's funny that Semiramis is also known as Ishtar. And Ishtar is also known as Inanna. And Inanna is also known as Isis. And Isis is the only queen of heaven and earth. She's the only one that can run this. So what did they really say? They said that he married his mother. That's some crap. I'm going to show you what happened. In the story, if you know the crowning of a king, in the coronation process, this is what takes place. The queen places the crown on the king's dome. When she declares that he is king, Now remember, who is this that's crowning you? This is the queen. But she's declaring this guy king. This guy just so happened to be her son. But when he becomes king, she is giving him her equal power to rule her kingdom as her ordained ruler God. Her ordained ruler God. This is your Christ aspect, your anointing. So when she say that he is ordained to rule, that means that if she choose to, she can intervene, but she don't have to. She just let him run the show. All right, son, go run the show. Now, if he ever gets stuck, which he shouldn't get stuck if he did his studies, if he learned how to apply wisdom, and that wisdom does produce justice, he won't never need to go back to mama for nothing. But the coronation ceremony is called the sacred marriage of heaven and earth. So he maybe did marry his mama, because in order to marry his mama, that means he would have to unite heaven and earth. He would have to unite Shu and Tefnut. He would have to have the authority to bring Shu and Tefnut together as one. He would have to call heaven down to earth as the alchemist. Right? So, in order to clean up the genetic cesspool, many of us who were involved in the cleanup didn't want to be involved. We didn't want to be involved and we rebelled. But this is not the fall because nobody fell for it. We weren't punished for it. But because our job as the immune system of Earth, black people is the immune system. So whatever disease being come on Earth, we're going to end up cleaning it up sooner or later. So this is why they call us the guardians of the galaxy. Everywhere we go outside of Earth, and I don't like to talk about outside of Earth because we on Earth and we need to deal with Earth. But everywhere we go, our job is to find the system that's there and balance it. Find the system that's there and balance it. All right. Now, when the ages, which is actually a reigniting of the creation spark in the current creation, it's called an ascension because there's a certain amount of things that had to take place to move into the next age. That's called a leveling up. That means you exhausted all of this stuff down here. Now you got to go up to the next level for a whole different class. Now, this originally the third dimension was created as a simulator. And it was supposed to be quarantined off from the ruler gods. And that the only ruler god was the one queen of heaven and earth. And that her name was Ta'ert. Now she is known as the great mother of creation, in whom wombs we all rest. And so the ones of us that didn't want to come over here were drugged over here to do what we agreed that we would do. Now, we have a priest by the name of Credo Mutwa. And if you see how he lived, nobody would be more pissed off than me, because for black people the world over, he is our equivalent of what the Pope professed to be, right? He is the keeper of the sacred knowledge of what you call the Zulu, the people of the heavens, the stars. Every time he tried to put the sacred elder council together, they kill them all. They're not allowed to do anything to him. And he's not even allowed to die a physical earth death until he passed certain secrets forward to the next generation that's shaping this next reality that we moving in. So now if you go back to the Theosophy, Madame Blavatsky, the Theosophical Society, and you read in the Sacred Doctrine where she talk about the emerging gold race, Then you go to the Nubians and you see Malachi York wrote about something called a neutrinoid. Now, these gold people are also written by a Tibetan monk, Rampa Tilab, saying it's because he called them the gold race to come. Now, the gold race is what you call your Brazilianized people. They call them Brazilianized is because this is what the end result is going to look like to people in Brazil.